see if I can get this pulled up real quick. All right, so we'll give it a second for the stream to circulate, right? Gotta get that circulation. But yeah, we'll give it a minute, then we'll start. All right, beautiful peoples. Hello, much love to everybody out there. What it is, all the beautiful peoples in YouTube world. Hope you're having an awesome day or night, whatever time it is for you. If you want to, leave your time zone in the chat and whatnot, or your area. If you're all the way across the world, it don't matter. Drop a shout out for wherever you're at. But yeah, much love, all you beautiful peoples. Done. And yeah, so what are we gonna do on this live stream? Besides look at some awesome visuals, right? Probably gonna go over some poems. I'm almost done with my adventure book. Yep, Star and Dragon: The Adventures of Delm is coming along pretty good. I got a lot of stuff that I read about them. Their last bit of adventure that I'm writing, I'm almost done with it. It's a bit of a twist, that's for sure. But yeah, if you like poetry and stories and stuff, stick around. We got some awesome poetry. All right, so yeah, let's go ahead and get it started, right? Here we go. The great unbecoming. The alarm did not ring in the ear, but in the marrow, a sudden, violent shedding of the heavy, gray wool of almost. I have spent decades as a ghost haunting my own skin, polishing the windows of a house I never actually stepped inside. But today, the oxygen tastes like iron and lightning. The shadows have not lost their loyalty to the floor. They are reaching, breathing, reminding me that to be awake is to be a wound that refuses to scar. I am no longer a passenger to my own pulse. I feel the architecture of my grief collapsing into the foundation of my joy. And for the first time, the debris is beautiful. It is the sound of 1,000 mirrors breaking to reveal the sky that was always behind them. To be awake is to stand in the center of the storm and realize you are made of the same wind. It is terrifying. Holy tremor of finally looking to the truth in its jagged teeth and choosing to kiss it anyway. I am here not as a memory, not as a plan, but as a frantic, brilliant fire consuming the cold comfort of the sleep I no longer need. And I hope you enjoyed that poem. We got more poems coming your way. Give me a second. Leave in the chat. Let me know what you think of the poem that I just went over if you want to. There should be a chat thing down there somewhere that people could type in and interact. If you want to interact and get the conversation started, definitely do. Just type in the box. Or is the chat thing. The live chat. Let's see. That's on. Anybody? Anybody want to get the conversation started? No? Okay. We'll try again in a second. All right, I'll be right back. All right, so Anybody that's still in here, or anybody coming in to the live chat, or anybody listening to this in the future, let's go over another poem, right? The weight of the world is a cold iron cage, a script written for us on the yellowing page. We walk through the static, we breathe in the gray, letting the someday just wither away. But deep in the marrow, a rhythm is born, a hunger for sunlight, a rose with its thorn. To truly be living is more than a pulse. It's the shedding the skin of a world that is false, the shattering. The silence is heavy, a thick velvet shroud, but thunder is screaming inside of the cloud. We build up these walls out of maybe and fear until our own heartbeat is all we can't hear. Crack through the porcelain, break through the bone, to stand in the center of all you have known. The barrier isn't a mountain or a sea, it's the lock on the door where you hold the own key. So tear off the bandages, let the air sting. There is power in every jagged, raw thing. For life isn't found in the safety of breath, but in chasing the fire and cheating the death of a soul that's been dormant, asleep in the dark, now catching the wind and becoming the spark. Yep, poetry is awesome. If anybody could ever break the code to my poetry, let me know. Do we have any code breakers out there that can figure it out? Probably not, but that's okay. A long time from now, somebody will be like, okay. Somebody will figure it out way, way in the future on a different planet. All right, so we went over a couple of poems already, and let's see. We ain't got no messages in the chat so far. You never know. Somebody might come in and say hello. We've had quite a few visitors on this live stream so far. Nobody wants to conversate though. Nobody wants to get the conversation started. Maybe will we have somebody out there that's gonna break the ice and get the conversation started or not? Maybe, maybe not. Huh? Anyways, much love to all you beautiful peoples that have been coming into the live stream and leaving and coming in and whatever. And much love to the beautiful peoples that hear this in the future. Hope you enjoy the poems and whatnot. I try my best. Or do I barely try? I don't know. We'll see. Anyways, hold on. Alright, shall we go over another poem? Let me see. Huh. Time is flying by, that's for sure. Okay, let me see. Let's see if we can pull up. Let me see. Pull off another poem, right? Alright, here we go. Give me 1 second and we'll go over another poem. Alright, here we go. We'll call this one The Architect and the Echo. The world is a marketplace of gilded cages where we barter our breath for the safety of stone, reading the maps on the yellowed pages of lives that were lived for the sake of the known. We are taught to seek the hearth that is steady, to prize the pulse that never skips a beat, to keep the soul quiet, polite, and ready while walking the lines of a well-paved street. But there is hunger that lives in the marrow, a ghost in the ribs that refuses to sleep, that finds the horizon too bitter and narrow, and the promises made by the shadows too cheap. To choose a love that is fine is a slow motion dying, a painting of windows on the windowless wall. It is the silence of wings that have given up flying. A painting of windows on a windowless wall. It is the silence of wings that have given up flying. The safety of never having to fall. True love. True love is not the anchor, it is the unveiling, it is the moment, the marrow. It is the moment the mirror stops being a mask, the end of the long, weary journey of sailing towards a shore where you never were allowed to ask. Am I enough in my wreckage and wonder? Can I be seen in the dark of my storm? It is the lightning that rips the composure asunder, the fire that destroys the fire that destroys to find the true form. It feels like the click of a lock in the distance, the sudden cessation of a lifelong ache, a beautiful, terrifying lack of resistance to the path that your heart was destined to take. It is choosing the person who knows your ghost by name, who doesn't ask them to leave, but invites them to tea, who sees the suit and the smoke and the flame and says, "This is the only place I want to be." Do not be fooled. This choice has a price. It will cost you your armor. It will cost you your pride. You must burn the maps of your own device and step where the waters are heavy and wide. It is the courage to stand in the path of the tide, to say to the chaos, I choose this soul, to cast the illusions of perfect aside and embrace the fracture that makes the heart whole. To choose true love is to choose a mirror that reflects not your grace, but your raw, honest skin. Where the closer you get, the visions grows clearly. Where the closer you get, the vision grows clearer, and the ending of I is where we must begin. It is a covenant made in the quiet of night, not in the absence of fear, but in spite of the dread. It is reaching for warmth when there's no sun in sight, and following threads where the angels won't tread. So let the world keep its trophies and titles, its logical unions and calculated stays. Let them worship the gods of the hollow and the idols, and count out their lives in the safest of ways. But you were made for the deep and the daring, for the love that is gravity, ancient and true, the kind that is fierce in its radical caring, the kind that creates the world entirely new. Choose the heart that feels like a homecoming, the one that vibrates at the frequency of your soul. Beneath the static and the endless drumming, it is the only thing that will ever make you whole. For at the end of the light, when the shadows are tall and the ink of our stories begin to run dry, the only thing that mattered at all was the courage to love and the yes to the why. And yeah, much love, everybody. I hope everybody's enjoying the poems. And yeah, I definitely have a lot of poetry that I've written and stories and all kinds of stuff. Anyways, hold on, let me go check on something. I'll be right back. Alright, let's see. What else are we gonna do here? Let's look at the moon, right? Yeah, can't see it. Let's try the other one. There we go. There's the moon. The moon looks so awesome. Alright, so let's go over this. I think the most widely accepted scientific explanation for the origin of the moon would be the giant impact, often referred to as the Big Splash. Now, according to this theory, about 4.5 billion years ago, shortly after the Earth formed, a Mars-sized protoplanet named Theia collided with the young Earth. The impact was not a direct head-on hit, but a glancing blow, right? The energy from this collision was so immense that it melted the outer layers of both bodies. This resulted in debris ejections, a massive amount of vaporized rock and debris from both Earth's crust, and Theia was blasted into orbit around Earth. A creation. Over a relatively short period, perhaps less than a century, this orbiting debris began to clump together due to gravity, eventually forming the moon. Now, why scientists favor this theory? Researchers support this model because it explains several unique characteristics of the Earth Moon system that other theories, like the moon being captured by Earth's gravity or forming at the same time, cannot. Chemical composition: moon rocks brought back by Apollo missions show that the moon has a nearly identical isotopic signature to Earth's mantle. This suggests that they share a common parent material. Now, lack of iron. The moon has a very small iron core compared to Earth. The theory explains this by proposing that Thea's iron core sank into and merged with Earth's core during the impact, while the moon formed primarily from the lighter, rocky debris of the mantles. Earth's rotation, the momentum from such a massive impact explains why Earth has a fast rotation and a tilted axis, which gives us our seasons. Low volatiles. The moon is very dry and lacks volatile elements, substances that evaporate easily. The heat from a giant impact would have naturally baked these elements away. There is alternative ideals. While the giant impact is the leading theory, scientists continue to refine it. Some variations suggest synestia model. The impact was so violent that Earth turned into a giant donut-shaped cloud of vaporized rock, and the moon condensed from inside of that cloud. Multiple impacts. Instead of one giant hit, several smaller impacts created moonlets that eventually merged into one. But overall, the big splash remains the cornerstone of our understanding of how our nocturnal companion, the moon, came to be. Something like that. All right, let me see. What else do we have here? Now, in Greek mythology, the moon is not just a celestial object created by a god. It is often personified as the goddess Selene. According to the most widely accepted accounts from Hesiod's Theogony, the creation of the moon is tied to the lineage of the Titans. The birth of Selene. Selene was the daughter of the Titans, Hyperion, the god of heavenly light, and Thea, the goddess of sight and bright light. She had two siblings, and together they formed the three great lights of the sky. Helios, the sun, who drove a chariot across the sky by day. Selene, the moon, who took over the sky when the sun set. Eos, the dawn, who announced the arrival of the sun each morning. Now the chariot of the moon, just like her brother Helios, Selene was said to drive a chariot. While Helios' chariot was pulled by fiery, powerful stallions, Selene's was often described as being pulled by two milk-white horses, or sometimes oxen. As she drove across the heavens, she would bathe the world in a soft, silvery light. Alternative myths, Selene and Endymion. Why our creation is a matter of genealogy. Many of the stories surrounding the moon focus on her eternal love for a mortal named Endymion. According to the legend, Selene fell so deeply in love with the beautiful shepherd that she asked Zeus to grant him eternal sleep so that he would never age or die. This allowed her to descend from the sky every night to visit him in a cave on Mount Latmus, which mythologically explains why the moon visits the earth and why its light is so quiet and watchful. Other moon figures over time, the Greeks often merged Selene's identity with other goddesses. Artemis, originally the goddess of the hunt, she eventually became associated with the moon's lunar cycles and chastity. Hecate, associated with the dark side of the moon, night, and crossroads. In later Roman mythology, Selene was identified as Luna. It is very interesting, though, that you have the connections with the scientist theory about a planet named Theia. And then, of course, Selene's parent, one of them named Theia. Really interesting, right? But yeah, I find Greek mythology to be very, very awesome. Right? Anybody else out there like mythology and really awesome old stories? But yeah, oh man, time is flying by. I didn't even realize I've been live streaming this long. So let me see. Oh, okay. I'll be right back. All right, but yeah, I think I'm gonna go ahead and end the live stream. Much love, beautiful peoples. MIK3Y FU signing out. Over and out.